Hey guys, AR here, and I'm here with the follow-up video on the learning about accessibility in different countries YouTube short. This is the episode for America. So today I'm going to be talking about the ADA, what is a 504 plan, and a IP plan, and how they're different. And I'm also going to be talking about what the ADA does. So let's get started. So let's start off with a 504 plan. That's what I started off with before I learned I was legally blind. So a 504 plan says like this kid has such and such disability, so they have to do so. Like for me, I was far and nearsighted and had trouble seeing the board, so I had to sit up front. I was given some extra treatment in a way, just like I was given a little bit extra time to write down my notes and stuff like that. Now an IEP plan is a whole lot different. IEPs which is what I have, is a set of different goals that this person needs to. So for instance, like for me, has O&M training, which is orientation and mobility training. So what I'd use with my cane, I would have to using it in the dark if I can't see in the dark or at night. So for that, I will have to be blindfolded and do different routes. So that's gonna be fun for me. What's another one I have? One I did have was organizing and getting my work turned in on time. So an IEP plan gives more treatment and more options than a 504 plan. And 504 plans, another big difference that 504s have from IEPs is 504s can be for like minor stuff. So like if a kid's dyslexic or if a kid has near or far-sighted vision. An IEP, it has to be this person's in a wheelchair or this person has a form of blindness or visual impairment. So those are 504 plans, IEP plans, and how they're different. Now, one of the favorite things in my home country of America is the ADA. So the ADA stands for Americans with Disabilities Act. The Americans with Disabilities Act is a prime reason why people who are visually impaired like myself, people who are in wheelchairs or whatever other disability they have, can get around and get into different places. So I'm going to name a few things that the ADA does for disabled Americans. So the first thing that they do is if you have a business or if you're looking for applicants for a job, you cannot discriminate someone. So if you're interviewing someone, you cannot say that they are not fit for the job because of their disability. And if someone with a disability is hired, you have to provide accommodations so they can do the job just as well as someone who doesn't have a disability. So for instance, if I were to work a night shift where another person's gonna be fine and like only needs a flashlight, I would have to have not only a flashlight, but I would ask for a map of where all the light switches are so I can turn them on, lights on, so I can see stuff. That's gonna be beneficial for me because again, I can't see well, and if a light goes out, that's when I need a really good flashlight so I can see better. Another thing the ADA does is it makes businesses accessible for everyone. So like if you're a restaurant, you have to have a handicap ramp for the men's bathroom. So for all my male audience, you'll understand this one. For the urinals, the ADA says that you can have such at like a normal height and then one that's very low to the ground. That's for like your little kid who can't, reach up there because they aren't that tall yet. And for people who have dwarfism. If you don't know what dwarfism is, it basically means that when you are a lot smaller than someone who does not have dwarfism, and I'm sorry if I'm being offensive to anyone with dwarfism. I try to be as small. I try not to be as ableist as possible. I do not discriminate against disabilities because I have a disability that wouldn't make sense. So again, if I'm offending anyone who has a disability out there, I am truly sorry. And again, for teachers out there or for people who know more about accessibility here in America, please comment on the video and mention anything I got wrong, and I will aim to fix it in a YouTube short or another long form video. And one of my favorite things that the ADA does for people who are disabled is it makes it so no random person can ask or demand information about your disability. So let's say I'm at Walmart, right? I'm just trying to buy like some protein bars, for example, and some random person comes up. If they're a staff member and they're like, hey, do you need help? I see you have a cane. If you don't mind me telling me how I can help you. You see, that person has the right to ask me about my disability. So I'd say, oh yes, I'm visually impaired, but I can get around here pretty fine. I will let you know if I need help. But let's say some random person comes up and they aren't a employee, and they're like, are you actually blind? Why do you need that cane? What is your disability? They cannot ask those questions towards me because one, it's very rude, and two, it goes up against, so one, very rude, two, it goes up against the ADA, which protects a disabled person's privacy. So I do not have to tell this random man or woman or whoever, this random child or whoever, about my disability because it's my own personal life. I have the right to explain my disability when I want to. And I'm using that right now, actually, for my disability, for my YouTube channel. So basically everyone's gonna know my disability if you guys watch me. So, again, I don't try to offend anyone on this channel. If I have, I am truly sorry. Anyways, so let's do a quick recap. So, a 504 plan is for anyone with a learning disability, so they can get some special accommodations so they can learn as well as someone who doesn't have that learning disability. An IEP plan is for very specific disabilities and gives someone more accommodations and more options. The ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act, which protect a disabled person's privacy, makes buildings accessible for people who are disabled, and it also works for not having disabled people be discriminated and refuse jobs because of their disability. I'll be back either next week or the week after to talk about the next country, Canada. So in that YouTube short, I will be asking any of my Canadian viewers out there or any content creators who happen to be Canadian to give me information, and I will spend the whole week with my free time looking up and studying about accessibility in Canada. Anyways, this has been learning about the accessibility here in America. You guys have a good day. AR is leaving. Goodbye.